Hello everyone, this is Professor Reimer. This video is part 2 of our video on medieval Europe and how the development of Christianity was a social and political factor in Western and Eastern Europe. Let's finish up and talk about how Christianity became divided, and then I'll get to today's assignment. So, for many reasons, Christians in Western Europe and Eastern Europe became split. Distance, lack of contact. However, all Christians base their faith on Jesus and the Bible. That's a core tenet of what makes a Christian, but they have different practices to show their faith. And so I take this time to pause and say, from a historical point of view, from an academic point of view, when we say Christian, we refer to anyone who follows the main beliefs of Christianity, who Jesus was, what the Bible teaches. Now, there are different branches of Christianity, yet historians all still call them Christian, even though members of those branches maybe do not. All right, here we go. Oh, let me also say, let me point out my bias right at the beginning. Remember, I am a member of the Greek Orthodox Christian Church, so Eastern Orthodox Christianity, as we're going to explore, that is different than Western Christianity. So I'm coming to you with that background. All right, here we go. So the organization of Christianity really followed the organization of the Roman Empire, right? And it was an organization of provinces, cities, and Christianity adopted that pattern. So you had archbishops who were in charge of a region, and then you had bishops, smaller regions, usually cities, and then you had in the individual churches priests. Okay, but what they disagreed on was the leadership of the church. So in the West, Christians believed that the Pope had authority over all Christians, not just in the West, but all Christians everywhere. And that differed from Christians in the East, who believed that the Pope only had authority over Christians living in Western Europe, because that is the way it was originally set up. Originally was set up, there was 5 main centers of Christianity: Rome, Constantinople, Jerusalem, Antioch, and Alexandria. So each of these 5 regions had a head, and when they needed to make decisions regarding all Christians, they came together to make those decisions. But otherwise, they said to the 5, hey, you're in charge of your region. But remember what was going on in the West, that the Pope was gaining more and more secular or political power, and as a result began to see himself as a very powerful figure. And that went against what Christians in the East thought. They, like I said, believed that major church decisions should be made by a gathering of all church leaders, what is referred to as ecumenical councils. That's where we get the creed from. It was decided in an ecumenical council. For example, much of the Bible was put together, was codified in ecumenical councils. Also, Byzantine emperors relied on a patriarch to oversee the church. There was a patriarch in Constantinople. He was in charge of all church-related affairs, but the emperor had final authority, what is referred to now as Caesaropopism, Caesar over Pope. Right? Remember, in the West, it was a sideways track. So you had Pope and kings exercising dual authority. In the East, it was one on top of the other. So you had emperor in charge and had authority over patriarch. All right. So let's pause and review. Why did the Christian churches in Eastern Europe and Western Europe grow increasingly apart? All right, so here are some examples of modern day leaders. Pope John Paul II on the right, who's no longer Pope, but was in the past century. And then on the left, that's the ecumenical patriarch Bartholomew. I'm almost certain he's still the ecumenical patriarch. Remember, we've been talking, they hold different positions in the church. So Eastern Orthodox churches, of which, remember, I'm a member, we pay him honor. Yes, we do. We consider him first among equals. We afford him a lot of respect because he is head of one of the ancient, most important churches, the Church of Rome. But we don't consider him the supreme authority over all Christians, and only the Christians of the Western Roman Church grant the Pope that authority for reasons we're going to continue to explore. One of the biggest controversies among Christians was the use of icons. You see an example of the Theotokos, as we call the Virgin Mary in Greek. They're religious images to help Christians in their prayers in worship. Those of you who are not from a Roman Catholic or Orthodox background, icons are very unfamiliar to you, but they are a major feature of life in the Christian churches of the Roman Church and the Eastern churches. At the time, some Christians thought that it was idol worship, that you were affording the icons the same level of worship you would Jesus or God. And so in 730, the Byzantine emperor banned icons. And as a result, many Christians rioted in the streets, and it was a very chaotic and time. Emperor Leo II ordered the destruction of icons. And there are these battles between those who wanted the icons and the iconoclasts, those who wanted to ban them. In Western Europe, the Pope supported the use of icons, and so this is yet another example of disagreements. Called the Byzantine emperor a heretic or a believer of false ideas. Eventually, he excommunicated the emperor, which basically means kicking him out of the church, calling him not a Christian. The emperor, or the patriarch, likewise did the same, and this is yet another major turning point in this schism between East and West. Ironically, icons are a much more common feature in Eastern Orthodox churches today than they are in Roman Orthodox or in Roman churches. All right, here are some more of these disagreements that lead to deep divisions among Christians, and eventually what's called the Great Schism or split that occurred in 1054, though before it had been building for many centuries. So, services in the Roman Church, they're done in Latin. In the Eastern Church, they are done in the local languages. I attend a Greek church. It's done in Greek with a lot of English. If you went to a Romanian church, it would be done in Romanian. If you went to an Armenian church, it would be done in Armenian. If you went to a Serbian church, it would be done in Serbia, so on and so forth. As we've said, the Pope, according to the Roman Catholics, have authority over everybody. In the Eastern Church, the patriarch and other bishops head the church as a group. So each of these local churches, the Romanian church, the Serbian church, they all have their own leaders. And these leaders from time to time get together to decide issues. But like the Serbian head, the head of the Serbian church does not have authority over the head of the Romanian church, for example. In the West, in the Roman Church, it's a much more hierarchical structure. Other differences are that in the Roman Church, the priests may not marry, while in the Eastern Church, our priests can marry as long as they get married before they become priests. Once they become priests, they can't be married. So, for example, my priest is married and he has 5 kids, which is very, it's uncommon, unheard of, never would happen in the Roman Church. Also, in Roman Church, divorce not permitted, while in the Eastern Church it's allowed under certain conditions, meaning like a few times is okay, but like 4 or 5, 6, not okay. For example, for me, I am once divorced, and I was remarried in the Eastern Orthodox Church. It was allowed. Also, in the liturgy, in our church, we use fluffy bread, or what's called leavened bread, and in the Roman churches, flat bread, unleavened bread. Just yet another example. The women wear a lot of headscarves in our churches, and in the Roman church, they don't. However, both of these churches base their faith on the gospel of Jesus, the Bible. We both use sacraments such as baptism. Our religious leaders are priests and bishops, and we do seek to convert people, though I would say Orthodox churches less so than Roman churches historically. All right. To conclude, and this is very, very important, guys, the Christian church in Western Europe became known as the Roman Catholic Church. And the Christian church in Eastern Europe became known as the Eastern Orthodox Church. They are both Christian. They are just different kinds of Christianity. They're different branches. And if you have noticed why I haven't been really calling the Catholic Church the Catholic Church, is because in my church we consider our church to be the Catholic Church, because Catholic means the one true faith. And so when we say the creed, we mean our church, just like when the Roman Church says the creed, the Christians believe it's their church. And so names are very important, and so when we want to use them correctly. So when we refer to the Western Christian Church or the Roman Catholic Church, that's what we should say. And if we say the Christian Church in Eastern Europe, Eastern Orthodox Church, the Eastern Church, they're both Christian, just different. All right, I'm gonna pause the video and I'm gonna bring up the assignment. All right, guys, I'm back. Here is our objective. Remember, we're explaining the development of Roman Catholicism and Eastern Orthodoxy as social and political factors in medieval Europe and the Byzantine Empire by writing a contextualization statement. We talked about this last time. Here is it as a review. I don't have time to get into it. I just wanted to remind you that in the previous video, I introduced this idea of contextualization, of how you're having to set the stage and provide the background to help your reader understand an essay or a topic. Remember, we did this exercise where you wrote a contextualization statement for an introduction of yourself as a high school student at Polytechnic High School in Fort Worth, Texas. Here is the assignment for today. We're going to build on that skill. I want you to, again, write a 3 to 4 sentence contextualization statement. That is about how long they should be. For a fictitious prompt, well, it's not fictitious, I made it, but not one you have to write a thesis statement for, because I already wrote it for you. Here it is. The prompt is, to what extent was Eastern Orthodox Christianity a social and political factor in the Byzantine Empire? So I'm giving you the thesis statement. What you need to do is provide the context to help a reader understand the background to this thesis statement. So here it is. Eastern Orthodox Christianity was a significant social and political factor in the Byzantine Empire because its religious leaders were influential in the Byzantine government, and it led to conflicts with the Roman Catholic Church in Western Europe. So I have provided the thesis statement for you. What you must provide is the contextualization statement. Here is an example. Please use it. Please, please, please use it. All right, so the contextualization statement comes first. You have to provide the background as you begin to narrow down your paragraph to what your argument is. That is how I want you to write. This is what goes in a fully developed introductory paragraph. So the best solution, the best way to do a contextualization statement is you take some of the big ideas in your thesis statement that aliens from another planet wouldn't understand, like what these terms are and where they came from. Here, there are two huge terms screaming to be explained: Eastern Orthodox Christianity and the Byzantine Empire. Aliens are not going to know what those two things are. You have to tell them. Here's how I suggest you do it. The Western Roman Empire officially fell in 476 CE, but the Eastern Roman Empire did not. As a result, blank. Go back to your notes and give me some information about this period of history. What happened in the Eastern Roman Empire? What's going on? Additionally, Eastern Orthodox Christianity, blank. You need to explain what this is. Some very big, key, important details. It differs from Roman Catholic Christianity because it blank, while Roman Catholic Christianity blank. That was a key feature of our objective. You need to show me that you understand these two differences. This would help the reader understand this thesis statement. Eastern Orthodox Christianity was a significant social and political factor in the Byzantine Empire because its religious leaders were influential in the Byzantine government, and it led to conflicts with the Roman Catholic Church in Western Europe. All right, guys, it's time for you to do it. I recommend copying this onto a Google document, filling in the blanks with information from your notes. Please reach out in the chat or in some other way for help if you need it. I'm here. I'll see you next time.